Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cooking Club. So this club is going to be run by myself, Miss Doolin. I'm in year 4, and with Mrs Woods in year 3, and we are going to be doing this every Friday, which is going to be really fun, and we're going to do 2 recipes every week. So if you like one of them, brilliant. If you like 2, excellent. If you want to do both, brilliant. If you just want to do 1, that's fine. And if you don't like any of them, maybe you would like to make them for someone in your family. That would be really nice. So we need to make sure that we've got a couple of notices. So we're going to try and make these recipes with ingredients found in your home and with equipment that's going to be found in your home. So you're going to need some help from your adults in your house as well, because a lot of these are going to require an oven. And if you're from year R to year 6, you're going to need help with the oven, especially when it's hot. So you're going to need to have an adult to turn the oven on for you. You're going to need them to take things in and out of the oven, and maybe for a timer as well. That would be really good if you can have an adult to help you with those things. We're going to try and make these recipes not be really long, so you don't have to be standing there for hours whisking and baking, okay? So I'm going to be doing some oat cookies with chocolate chips, and Mrs Wood is going to follow up, and she is going to do some cheese straws this week, which is absolutely delicious. So we're going to start today with some instructions. Our very first step for our recipe is going to be to get your ingredients ready. So I have managed to get mine together very easily. So I'm going to put the recipe on the description of the YouTube link, so it should be just down there for what ingredients you need and how much. So you're going to need some scales. So let's have a look at my ingredients here. So I have got some flour, oats, an egg, some brown sugar, chocolate chips and butter. It's all the ingredients we need for this recipe. How easy is that? So, and it's only going to take 15 minutes in the oven. You can do this so quickly after school, and really good part about these cookies is that you can have them at any time of day. Because they're made with oats, like porridge, they can be eaten as a breakfast snack. They're really filling, as a good filling breakfast snack. They can be an afternoon snack if you're feeling a little bit run down after school, and you can have them as a dessert. Lovely with a little bit of custard. Oh, that sounds very nice. So I personally have chosen chocolate chips for mine, but it's not that you don't have to use chocolate chips. You can use any other ingredients. So you have to have all the rest of them, but please, if you don't want to do chocolate chips, love to see some different ones. Think about what you might be able to use. I was thinking if I was going to do a different one, maybe I might do like raspberries. That would be really nice in there, or raisins. Lots of different raisins and golden syrup, and oh, that sounds good. So maybe you can do different versions. See what you can find in your home that you could use instead. And that way, they never get boring. And they're so quick to make. The very, very first step is to get your ingredients ready. Then, once they're ready, we need a nice clean surface. So I've cleared my surface already. I've wiped it down with some anti-bac spray to make sure it's nice and clean. I have got clean equipment, and I have got everything nice and clean. So now I need to wash my hands. So let me just go and wash my hands, and then this part, you should go and wash your hands too. Nice. Brilliant. So now my hands are nice and clean, I'm going to turn my oven on. So this part I would like your adult to do. So your adult with you is going to put the oven to 200 degrees. We're going to do this now so that it's nice and warm for when we put our cookies in. So that in 15 minutes, when we should be just about done with our ingredients all mixed together, our oven's going to be prepped and it's going to be an even time. So what I would now do is I'd get my tray. So my tray is already prepped because I just wanted to get it prepped. So I've put some oil and I've spread it around onto my tray to coat it so that my batter is not going to stick. So I have done that. If you've got some baking parchment in your house, and that's another good way that it's not going to stick to the pan and they're not going to burn. But if you don't, then that's fine. Just use oil like I have. A little tiny drop of oil and move it around so it's a nice even layer. Then our first step is going to be, we're going to put the butter, 100 grams of butter, into my mixing bowl. All of it in there, lovely. And then I'm also going to put my sugar in there. Oh, nice bit of sugar. Oh, lovely, in there. And now we're going to mix that together until it's light and fluffy. This might take a few minutes. We need it to get nice and fluffy. So this should all stick together. So just take a moment, you can pause this. I'm going to pause mine until it's nice and fluffy. And then come back to it. Right, now, your mixture should be looking a little bit like this. Oh, lovely. Excuse my lack of mixing bowl, by the way. I have recently moved house and my mixing bowl got lost. I don't know where it is. So as long as you're using something that can contain this all together and mix, that's fine. I'm using a casserole dish because that's the biggest bowl that's in my house. Now this is light and fluffy. You can see it's all mixed together really, really well. We are then going to beat in the egg. Again, if you need an adult to help you, then make sure you've got one with you to break the egg and maybe put it in, because we don't want any shells in any of our cookies, all right? So how are we going to beat this in? How do we do that? So we've got a whisk here and we are going to break and mix this together. It's going to get a little bit sloppy, but it's getting, oh yeah, mix that all in together. Oh, it's looking really nice. And when it's mixed in enough, you can then add your vanilla extract. I've got some vanilla extract here. We are going to need, let me look back at my instructions. 1 tablespoon of this, not tablespoon, teaspoon. Don't put a tablespoon in, that would be terrible. Don't do that. 1 teaspoon. Just going to put it on there. Again, if you need your adult to help you, do a teaspoon, because that can be a bit tricky, then please do. And then we're going to mix that in too, so it's all mixed in together. So now you should look something like this. All nice mixed together, a little bit like cake mixture. That's what it's going to look like. So you shouldn't see any bits of egg. I've got a little bit down here, let me get him. And a little bit of sugar. And that should all be mixed in nice and together now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the rest of our stuff in. So we're going to need to add our oats, our flour, and our chocolate chips, or whatever you're using, your final ingredient. And we're going to mix it again. So I'm going to pause this because it's going to take a minute, and then I'll come back to you when it's done, okay? Oh, my arms are aching a little bit. So I'm going to now, it's looking a little bit like this. It's not quite all together yet. So I'm just going to add the final ingredients, which is our cinnamon. You need a teaspoon of cinnamon. Again, ask your adult to help you because you do not want too much cinnamon. It can make it a little bit spicy. It's not really the aim is spicy. Oh, I think I just did a little bit too much. Mine might be a bit spicy. That's okay. And a teaspoon of baking powder. This is going to make sure they're all baked beautifully. And now I'm going to use my hands because it's getting a little bit tricky in the corners to mix it all together. So use your hands to mix, mix, mix. So you can get right into the corners now. Oh, it's starting to smell really yummy. I hope yours smells as good as mine does. that I can see at the bottom of mine, there's loads and loads of bits that I've missed. There's bits of flour, there's all sorts that I've missed. And we're going to need to put this all together in a few minutes when we put it on our tray. So we should be getting nice and sticky. Right, now that's all mixed in together, I can't really lift it up and show you anymore because now I've got sticky hands. But here's mine, it's looking very, very sticky. So now what we need to do is we need to roll them into equal sized balls. I'm just gonna grab it all together and do some equal sized balls. Something like this. Very round actually, I'm quite impressed with that one. So just do equal size and equal, oh look, see that's a little bit too big there. Squish them down a little bit. There you go, so nice and equal so that when they're cooking, they're all gonna look pretty much the same. There's one. So you should be able to make 12 of these, that's the idea. So either, if there's 12 of you in your house, then you can have one each. If there is 6 of you, you can have 2. If there's 4 of you, you can have loads. If there's 2 of you, then even better because you're going to have loads. But because this is such an easy recipe, you'll be able to make so many. And all you need to do is change the amount that you are cooking for. So this will suit 12 cookies. Unless you've made them really big, which I think I've made mine a bit too big for 12. So maybe do a little bit smaller, this sort of size, and pop them on your baking tray. If you want to do, with all of this, do a couple of big ones, that's fine too. I'm going to stick with some small ones so that I can have them in my lunch next week, hopefully. And these should last in the fridge in a nice Tupperware pot. These should last for up to 5 days, which is really good. That's 5 breakfasts with just this 20 minutes that we're taking to do this. 5 whole breakfasts, that's pretty impressive. And you can change it every week. They're really filling too. Oh, my phone moved, sorry about that. It's gonna fall over in a minute. Another one. I've nearly got 6. Let's see if I can pause this. Hello, so I just paused that, managed to, with my dirty hands, and rolled out the last of my. Okay, so now your tray should look something like this. And you see, I had a bit extra, a little bit extra at the end there, so I made these 3 on the end a little bit bigger than my previous ones. But your tray should look something like this. Be 12, but maybe you might be able to get a little bit more. Maybe you can make them slightly bigger. That was all of mine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set a timer for 15 minutes. In this 15 minutes, we're going to put them in the oven. So get your adults to do this. So they're going to just pop them in on like the middle shelf of your oven for 15 minutes. And make sure you set a timer. And I'll come back to you after I've done that for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, perfect time to do some washing up from all of our dirty ingredients and to put the rest of my ingredients away. So I will be back in 15 minutes and we'll see what they look like. Mine have only been in the oven for about 3 minutes, but I thought I'd just come back to show you how big they've got already. Look how much bigger they've got, and they've been in for about 3 minutes. Oh, there's my pussycat. Look at that. So make sure you keep an eye on these because they are going to get big, real big. They are going to be delicious and it smells incredible. I hope yours smells as good as mine do. So we'll see you back here in a few minutes to see how big these cookies get. We're back. Hello everyone. So now my 15 minutes are up. I've just taken mine out of the oven. Now some of your ovens, you're going to have to keep an eye on this because mine is a little bit strong. It's a new oven, so it's a bit strong. So we need to make sure you're watching these because they all look beautiful. But this one here has got a little bit burnt, and that's okay. That can just be cut off because when you look and you're moving them, they are still really, really soft. So when you're taking these, be really careful and have an adult with you when you're doing this because it is going to be really, really tricky to get these off. So now they're out of the oven, we are going to let them cool for about 5 minutes until they're firm enough. Where they're cookies, they're still really, really soft. So you might think, oh, I think they're burnt on the outside and they're cooked on the outside, but in the inside they're going to be really, really squidgy. But that's the idea. They need to be soft and chewy on the inside and a little bit firmer on the outside, but then they're cooked perfectly by about, mine was about 14 minutes. So keep an eye on them from about 10 minutes, okay? Just going to give it a couple of minutes for them to cool down and then I'm going to put them on a plate. So I'll come back for the last part. And I'm back. Final stage, guys. You should be just about ready for where I am now, which is I'm going to put them on my plate. So I've got my plate and I've got my spatula. This is make sure that we don't get burnt whilst we're doing this. So my plate's going to go down and I'm going to lift. Again, I'd prefer your adult to be here for this because it's still going to be really tricky to get these off. So you're going to scoop them up onto your plate. Now they are cool enough to lift off of your tray. And mine have gone really nicely. I'll show you them once I've put them all on my plate. And that oil that we use to put on the bottom of our trays has really helped mine to come off nice and easily. So hopefully yours have done the same. So I'm just moving them onto my plate nice and carefully. And also, if they've got big like mine have, and they've stuck together, when they're cooling a little bit, you can ask your adult to just stick the spatula, just like this one, just down the side because they'll be soft enough that you can just break them apart or with a little knife. Now this is what mine looks like. Wow, look at those, and that took 15 minutes, which is amazing. And look, my washing up's all done. We're done, and I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully you'll show me your pictures. So make sure you put them on the Facebook page or email the Year 4 at Lordswood, and I can see them on there as well. So I hope you all have super fun cooking.